In the last episode, we met Claire, a woman who fell in love with someone who seemed perfect at first. But soon things took a darker turn. Chuka's love became controlling, his apologies became empty, and Claire found herself trapped in a dangerous cycle. But why does an abuser apologize so often? Why do they promise to change and then repeat the same patterns of hurt? Today, we are diving deep into the psychology of the abuser so you can better understand the mind behind the manipulation. Abuse is a cycle. It doesn't happen once and stop. It spirals in a pattern, tension builds, an explosion, verbal, emotional, or physical occurs. Then comes the apology and the calm. But here's the twist. The apology isn't a sign of change, it's a tactic. The abuser's psychology is complex. The apologies aren't always because they feel genuine remorse. They can be a tool for regaining control. In fact, many abusers are addicted to control and will do whatever it takes to prevent loss of power. When Chuka apologized, he wasn't necessarily acknowledging that what he did was wrong. He was simply working to re-establish control and manipulate Claire back into the cycle. And for Claire, those apologies gave a glimpse of hope, even when they were quickly followed by disappointment. The psychology of an abuser often involves deep-seated shame and a lack of empathy. Many abusers have unresolved trauma that they never learned to process, and their way of coping is through control and manipulation. First, emotional insecurity and narcissism. Abusers may display narcissistic tendencies. They believe the world revolves around them. Their emotions are prioritized over everyone else's. They may gaslight, manipulating Claire into questioning her reality. You're too sensitive. The apology is a quick fix designed to reset the power dynamic to make sure they are back in control. Second, fear of loss of control. The fear of losing control over their partner often drives the cycle. When they sense their victim is pulling away, they react with intense effort to reel them back in. Gifts, apologies, love bombing. When Chuka apologized intensely, he was almost begging for Claire's forgiveness. The apology becomes a means of manipulation. Abuse at its core is about power. The abuser feels powerless in many aspects of their life, so they use the relationship to feel in control. Third, the need for dominance. Chuka, like many abusers, uses control to cover his insecurities. His need to feel superior was masked by loving gestures and fake remorse. But at the core, his goal was to dominate. When a person seeks control, they cannot handle genuine equality. That's why the apologies often feel empty, because the person apologizing is not committed to equality or fairness. They're committed to getting their power back. Claire, like many victims, felt conflicted. Her hope in the apologies kept her engaged in the relationship. She wanted to believe in change, but the cycle kept repeating. This is where trauma bonding comes in. The intermittent reinforcement of hope creates a bond between the victim and the abuser. This psychological phenomenon makes it harder to leave. The victim becomes addicted to the highs, where the abuser is affectionate, kind, and apologetic. In Claire's case, each apology felt like a lifeline. Claire began to realize that faith and action had to work together. She prayed for strength and guidance, but she also had to take action. Breaking the cycle meant setting clear boundaries. Prayer alone won't stop the abuse. Action does. Understanding the psychology of the abuser helps you identify the pattern and break free. But recognizing this is only the first step. The next step is building your strength to act, set boundaries, and if necessary, walk away from the cycle. In our next episode, we'll dive into how to safely leave an abusive relationship. If this helped you feel seen, consider subscribing. You don't have to walk this journey alone.